Thank you.
It's wood?
Okay.
No, it's fake wood.
Oh.
Okay, we are live. Here we are for the opening night of the Seattle. Where are we? For the opening night of the Seattle Queer Film Festival and the wonderful film Breaking Fast. We're really excited to have our guests here. Before I start, I'd love to thank our all the people who watched here today. So we really appreciate all of the support. So I'd like to introduce Mike Masalam, who is our opening night film director. And I thought if you want to say a few words and introduce the other guests, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much to Seattle Queer for having us, for the distinguished honor of being the opening night festival and in their 25th year. That's incredible. Kathleen, thank you so much for having us here at this great Q&A. I'm joined tonight with the brilliant Alex Lampsos, one of the producers on the film. Oh my goodness, the insatiable Amin El-Gamal, who played Sam. And in the most perfect of timing, Mr. Christopher Hankey, who plays John in the film.
Amazing.
I truly, we knew that you were really good at timing, but like that timing could not have been better. It was incredible.
Exactly. Oh my God, is that my phone? I thought I turned notifications off, but maybe I didn't.
Christopher, I love your outfit and the toque.
Yeah, it's a really good outfit.
Yeah. If you're going to quarantine, you got to do it in style, people.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So I thought we'd get started with just saying, like, sort of, I love this film because it talks about something, but it's also really a romantic comedy as well. And it's so hard to do a romantic comedy. And I got kind of very sucked in by that. So maybe, Mike, you could start with sort of talking a little bit about that and sort of that decision.
Yeah, I mean, I think, something that absolutely has spoken to me in my life is the genre. I mean, I'm very open about the fact that I learned how to love and what love was from Julia Roberts and the great rom-coms of the 90s. And the biggest difference is that I've never seen someone who looked like me as the lead of a rom-com and sort of learning to sort of traverse life and love and all that goes along with it. And so what I really wanted to do was create a film that Julia Roberts might star in if Julia Roberts were a gay Arab Muslim man who lived in West Hollywood. And there you have Breaking Fast.
Mm-hmm. Which is wonderful, right? So which is like, that's so great. And, it's so funny because I've always had such a, relevant, but I've always had such a crush on Julia Roberts.
Same, me too.
So, it's like that thing is who would knock on your door anyway.
Yeah. If you know her number, please have her knock on mine.
I will definitely, for sure.
Thank you so much.
And I love that you have all of these, Mo obviously is the main character, but I love that you have so many of these wonderful other characters in the film. And I'm just kind of like that decision of it feels like a bit of an ensemble, with like both of your, with both Amin's and Christopher's characters. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, most people know this about me. I know Christopher and I talk about this quite often. I grew up in the theater. My background primarily is in the theater. So thinking about the way in which an ensemble functions together is like a bit second nature to me. And I love the idea of having a cast of characters really sort of interact with each other individually and collectively, but specifically about the ways in which we portray the gay Muslim experience or the gay Arab Muslim experience. It was really important to me that we were able to show a cross section of experiences. And even in that, even though we have Mo and Amin's character, Sam, and Patrick's character, Hassan, who all represent a very specific version of that story and like where on the spectrum they all fit. We could tell this story 100 ways and have 100 different versions of the spectrum. And I think Mo, our protagonist, comes from a very unique place of privilege to be comfortably gay, very devout in his faith, have a very accepting family, have a loving relationship, and sort of no financial strife. And it's necessary to talk about, we do in the film towards the end, but also to show that his is a very, very unique position. And who better to do that than his best friend and someone close to him, like his best friend Sam, who is brilliantly played by Amin.
Yeah, exactly. And what was that like for you? I mean, like it's such a great role. Like you so shone in that role.
It was a real joy. There's a lot of joy in the words that Mike wrote. And I'm really tired. I've had a long day. I, like Mike said, it's hard. It's very rare that you find an intersection of like queer Arab Muslims in like a narrative and narrative media that isn't tragic. So it was really exciting to play a character that was so filled with joy. And as an actor, like, who doesn't love, you know, a well-timed joke that you get to land?
Yeah, really well said, Amir. Really well said.
Shut up. I always loved the crazy best friend too, the quirky best friend. So it was a dream come true.
That's amazing. And
Kathleen, I'm sorry. I also want to say, we always had Amin in mind for this role. And we forced him to suffer through an actual audition for us, partially for fun, but also because the unfortunate reality when you're an actor like Amin, you're an actor who looks like Amin, you're not often asked to come in for roles that are ones of joy, you know, but are in fact ones of strife. And we wanted him to read what this felt like as a comedy. And he was the first Sam option we saw, and we didn't see any after that. We didn't need to. He nailed it. He's just so wonderful.
Aw, that's so nice.
That was not my experience. I was terrified, and I worked really hard on the audition, and had no idea that I was going to get the part.
And how did you find Christopher?
I think I came clean about this, but you know, I've been a huge fan of Christopher's work for a long time, especially being a big theater fan, and I can distinctly remember the experience I had watching him in the Broadway revival of How to Succeed in Business, and have always sort of known of his work and watched him in other things. So when he came in for it, the thing that resonated the most for me with Christopher was he fully understands how to play an antagonist and also make you love him. And I felt very clear that like we couldn't make John just sort of this guy that we hated. We kind of also just wanted to sort of like also yuck along with him. And I knew, you know, with very few scenes, Christopher could make that happen very quickly. And also, I mean, I also wanted to be his friend. What a better way to make that happen? I forced him into my life.
And I am the recipient of such many blessings because of that. So thank you for. I don't know. It sounds like it was a trap, but I reaped the benefits. So thank you.
Well, but yours wasn't really like that an easy role to play. Do you want to talk a little bit about your role?
I mean, listen. To be honest, Kathleen, these roles are easy for me to play.
Okay. Well, good to know.
I just feel like every role I play is like that, like just hideous person. In the play that Mark mentioned on Broadway that he saw me in. That character was exactly that. It was like a buffoonish, horrible, conniving, yet you love to hate him type of role. And it's the roles I play all the time. So it was super easy. And honestly, Kathleen, what does that say about me? Okay. does it say about me?
Christopher, what do you think it says about you?
I think that
This is going off the rails.
I would like to know.
no, listen. My mother. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Okay, this is like a comedy in and of itself. So
Yes,
No,
yes. Welcome to our.
I'm highly entertained.
no. Do you know what they are? Can you tell me? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. What's up? Me? Sorry, we have some questions. I'm like totally distracted and I'm live. No, but I'm distracted because we have some questions on Cinesend, which is our watch portal.
Oh, okay.
But we're not getting them yet. So we will get them and ask you them. So yeah, sorry. So this is the first night we have a whole. Pardon?
No,
I said, in the meantime, let me tell you about Alex here.
I don't like the spotlight.
Yes, please tell us about you, or Mike can tell you us about you.
Well, why don't you talk about how you got involved with the film?
I
Well,
would love to know that.
Mike and I met serendipitously like years ago, and everything actually, when it comes to like our journey with our work and our friendship, has been so very serendipitous. And like we really very much connected in terms of like our moral fabric and the types of projects that we would want to put out. And when I heard about Breaking Fast, it was honestly kind of to piggyback on what Amin was saying, a dream come true for me, because being like part Arab, part Greek myself,
But all gay.
all gay, and living in the Middle East, like growing up in the Middle East, I very much understood the complexity of being a queer Arab or even a queer Arab Muslim. It kind of all falls into the same, realm. And to be able to put this kind of project out was honestly a dream, and I'm so grateful for it.
And Alex was with us from the short. The feature is the product of a short that came out in 2015, and Alex was a producer on the short, and we've been on the same journey together for a very long time.
It's been a long journey.
It has.
Yeah. So how long has it been that you've been making the film? Like, Tell us a bit about that.
The short, we produced the short in 2014
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
or 2015. 2015.
Yeah.
Then from there, that played a variety of film festivals, including the Cannes Film Festival. And from the reception we got over the short, we were asked sort of what the next phase of this film would be. And frankly, we had never even considered writing a feature. And we started to really think about what the world would look like of Mo and Cal in an expanded version. And that process took me, I would say, probably 3 years. And then we got our funding in 2018, and we shot over 3 weeks at the end of 2018.
Yeah.
So it was, and now here we are in 2020. So it was a good, nice 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it takes a long time to make a film and to make an independent film as well. So I'm going to ask you some of the questions. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so there's a question for Amin. How did you? I have to put my glasses on. Okay, sorry. I'm going to wear my nerdy glasses with the big eyes. Okay, but I was like trying to do it without. But anyway, I loved this movie. I have a question for Amin. How did you approach this character? There's an aspect as a sidekick that fits the formula of rom-com, but you brought a level of authenticity to it that grounds as well. Who were you speaking to in your character arc? What a great question.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the film and that Sam resonated. The aspect of Sam that I cherished the most was his friendship with Mo, the main character. It's not often that you see two men of color who can be vulnerable and sort of there for each other in that way. And I know in my life, something that has changed my life is having gay friends. It took me a while to have friends of with platonic gay male friends, but that sort of changed my life. It opened my heart. It kind of helped me grow, and I see that sort of as Sam's role in this film. Technically, he talks very fast. He's at a very high frequency. I personally I'm a very low key person. So technically I had to learn the lines inside and out and just kind of go as fast. Mike just kept saying like, go faster, go faster. So I just, on a technical level, there was a lot of timing. So I got the joke right and also pushing the scene forward. And a lot of it was very technical.
Oh, that's interesting.
I hope that,
yeah, you do speak a lot. You speak a lot more thoughtfully or slower. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I also, I guess personally, I'm gay and Muslim, so I was really speaking to sort of my younger self, who, like Mike said, also didn't feel like I was represented or had a lot of self-hate or was conditioned to think I was unattractive or I was bad or something was wrong with me. And I think a character like Sam and like Mo and this film and its existence is sort of revolutionary in that it helps put out a positive image of what it means to be Arab or Muslim and gay or any of the above.
Yeah.
And, the rom-com sort of gives you a template for what an ideal could be and who is worthy of love. And I feel like that film really does that. This film really does that in a really powerful way that I hope touches people and resonates. So that people don't have to go through what people like me went through when we were young. That's my hope.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of you feeling like you weren't attractive, I mean, look at you. You are so gorgeous. I was like thinking, like, you should be a runway model for like Gucci.
Oh.
Just saying. So I have another question from the audience. I'm curious about the process of expanding the short film into a feature. Can you discuss that a bit? Because that's actually quite a very difficult thing to do successfully, and you really did.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, the easiest and hardest part about the expansion was that we had started with the conceit of the holy month of Ramadan. The short takes place on the very first night and ends on the first night, and we're sort of left to wonder what happens over the trajectory of the next 29 days with Mo and Cal. And obviously the feature takes us through the entirety of the month, but allows us to sort of really sort of slow burn their relationship and fall into the sort of less jumping into a more sexualized relationship and really sort of get into the headspace with one another. My producing partner, Seth Hauer, and I really took a lot of time to be very methodical about what charting out sort of where this journey was for Mo and Cal over the course of the month and where they started and where they should end up. And I think spending a month with somebody is a good time to feel it out, whether or not it's worth pursuing. And there we are.
In gay years, that's a decade.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think after a month,
Yes.
my opinion. After a few days, but anyway, but in this time of COVID, it's really interesting your film, right? As well, because they're taking the time to get to know each other in a non-sexualized way, and I think that is something that is potentially happening more right now.
100%. It's all about the FaceTime dates now.
Yeah. Have you been on any?
I've tried.
Exactly.
We can talk about it later.
Okay, so I have another good question. Is the movie facing, how is it being received in the Muslim communities, acceptance from others?
So the truth is, I can only tell you what I know, which is we have been so fortunate now to play, or will have played by the time our festival run ends, nearly 50 festivals. And we have been very lucky enough to receive about 15 awards for the movie. And the reason why I bring that up is because we tend to see ourselves winning the audience award. And to win the audience award for people who are experiencing an LGBTQ focused festival, and also from a non-LGBTQ festival in the heartland of America, and also one in Europe. And also, I think like the cross section of people that are seeing the film and also having an earnest response to it is such a beautiful experience to watch. I can't speak for the Muslim community as a whole, but I will tell you that there have been at a few of the screenings that we got to do in person prior to shutdown, and then also some beautiful letters we've received over the course of our virtual run. Muslim men and women have come up to us and have said some of the most generous things in terms of seeing themselves reflected back, or finding a path to create dialogue with their family, or finally seeing themselves in a way that and I hate this word, but normalizes their faith, or their love of their faith. And so, I mean, I have to say, of all the accolades, and may this film, you know, whatever's going to happen with this film once we go into our wide release, that is enough for me. You know, that kind of, those moments are the reason why I know Alex and I have spent many nights talking about that exact thing, and the type of impact. And so I hope that as the film increases visibility, that's the kind of impact that carries on. Sure, there will be folks from both Muslim and non-Muslim communities who will have staunch opinions about what we're saying in this film, and let them. But I will always and hopefully only focus on those folks who I know get to see themselves in a way that I was hoping to see myself in a film like this.
Absolutely. I'm going to see if there's any more questions, and then yeah, I think that's about it. I do want to ask you what, like, people, so the film is going to be released. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that, what's happening with that, so the audience knows. And
yeah, we were very lucky to be picked up for distribution by Vertical Entertainment. It's the same company that recently this year released Almost Love. And we are, our release date is January of 2021. The platform or how it's released, we're not sure yet. It's supposed to have a theatrical release, but we don't know entirely what that means in this day and age. But we're lucky enough that despite COVID and the shutdown, we were able to secure that, and we're excited to see sort of where the film goes.
Right. You know, and I am going to sneak one more question in because it's a really good one. The film, it's from Jason Plord, former executive director of $3 Bell Cinema, and now is directing the AMP, the AIDS Memorial Pathway, here in Seattle, a really great organization. The film is very rooted in LA and West Hollywood, which provides a specific mood and experience. Did you ever consider it being set in a more anywhere city or USA? I mean, that could be for all of you if you're all living in LA. Mike?
I would love to hear from everybody else. I will just quickly say there was a super brief conversation about setting it in New York, and that was when we were speaking to a specific funder. And we really declined that opportunity because it was more important to talk specifically about Los Angeles and the West Hollywood community. And there's so much about this film that is deeply rooted in that community that I think if we were to try to just put it anywhere else, I think it would have felt a little too maybe on the nose, superficial.
Yeah.
Interesting. And do you both, at Christopher and do you both live in West Hollywood? Are you?
I don't live in West Hollywood, but I know West Hollywood. West Hollywood is like the heartbeat of LA, and and artistically, nightlife, food, culture. It's where everyone wants to be. And there is, in regards to the gay side of West Hollywood, which West Hollywood is a predominantly gay community, there is just something that you can't. There's like a je ne sais quoi that like you can't. You just, if you set it there, you know what it is, and you can't recreate that same feeling somewhere else in a different part of the country. So I think that this movie would have been a very different film if it would have been in downtown New York, even in a gay community in another city, like if you were like in Hell's Kitchen or in the old world of Chelsea of New York City that still had a pulse and had a nightlife and had that gay culture. It would still not have been the same.
Well, and don't you think, Christopher, too, that the people would have been very different? I mean, Mo and Cal would have been different as people of New York.
Totally, yeah. And John would not even would not even have been in that New York space, probably. Do you know what I mean? Like, he just didn't feel like he could even be there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very specific. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. So we've heard about the Breaking Bad. So and Christopher, like, what are you up to? What is sort of just to sort of find out what you're doing right now?
Amin?
Oh,
I'm going to be a model. I'm going to get a modeling career after this.
I'm not doing much. I'm on a show called Good Trouble, and we shot a few episodes before the shutdown, and so I think it's going to air next year. And I did another indie film called what is it called? Spring Bloom. That's set in Austin. It's a kind of edgy indie queer drama that is shot in 3D. I don't know why, but it was.
Okay.
So that's going to be coming out at some point. Otherwise, I've been doing a lot. I've pivoted to doing a lot of like audio stuff. I'm dubbing a show for HBO, a foreign language show. I'm doing audiobooks, stuff like that. It's been really rough. I'm not going to lie. It's been horrible. It's been devastating.
Yeah.
On to you, Christopher.
You're alone, Amin.
You, Christopher.
Wow. I don't know if I should like clean that up or if I should just grab in the car, keep driving the car.
Yeah.
I know it's a hard question right now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say that I think that Mike is attracted to theater actors in general, like he mentioned before, and Amin is comes from the theater training, as do I, as does Michael Cassidy, who is our lead. He grew up in a theater company I want to say in Seattle, actually.
I think he's maybe from Portland. I was reading, or like Oregon. He's from Oregon, which actually all his friends could have watched from Oregon.
Yeah,
streaming there as well.
And so the theater is in my DNA, and it's something I think I will always return to. And even though that's not happening right now in a way that we wished it would, I am currently directing a play online, Stephen Adley George's play called The Last Days of Judas Iscariot. For a university, so I was supposed to be directing that live. So I'm grateful to be an artist and to be making money and being back into the space that I love, even though it's slightly different. I also shoot on this show, this indie TV series that is on Amazon called After Forever, that won 5 Emmy Awards last year, and I think maybe 2 or 3 just recently. And we're supposed to be shooting season 3 right now. That's not happening, of course, because everyone knows why. But we're shooting they're calling it a oh God, maybe I'm not supposed to talk about this. Whoops. They're calling it season 2.5. Yeah. And there's something that we're going to do via our own homes. That's going to be a cool like special episode type of thing. So I'm in the middle of doing that as well.
Right.
Christopher, do you know the Stephen, the playwright of that play? His father is Egyptian.
Yeah, he's half Egyptian.
I did know he was Egyptian because in researching this play, there is one of the lawyers, El Fayumi, in this play is a great part for an actor that like knows that world and I was like, whoever wrote this, I was like, he must be Egyptian or Arab. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he must. And then I saw that he was, and he's and also Irish, so he like mixed race, Egyptian Irish.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Do you know him?
I don't know him. I adore that play. It's an incredible play.
It's a great play.
Sorry.
I love that we're getting the inside scoop. It's totally amazing. Wow. Okay, great. Let's talk forever. So I just really want to say thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you being the opening night film, and people can watch it all week long. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Kathleen.
you, Kathleen. Thank you, Seattle Queer Film Festival. Thank you for your support for queer cinema.
Thank you.
Bye. And